So today I'd like to talk a little bit about a win-win mindset. So in an older video, I talked about how to achieve freedom from the fear of failure. The whole idea there being is that a lot of people don't try new things because they're afraid of failing. And they're afraid of the worst possible scenario occurring when they fail. So rather than, I will fail, therefore my boss will be pissed, it'll be, I will fail, therefore my boss will fire me, therefore I will not find a new job, therefore I will lose my apartment, therefore I will be homeless. So people immediately jump to, if I try this idea and it doesn't go well, I will be homeless. They don't try the new idea. I talked about that in the video on achieving freedom from the fear of failure. And I would suggest watching that video before this one. This video is a complementary philosophy, which is always trying to framework a situation so that it's win-win for yourself. And it's something I learned from my dad, because my dad has just been through a lot of crap in his life. And the way that he sees it is there's always a win, regardless of what happens in a situation. And the way he's managed to come out of all these miserable circumstances and miserable situations he's had with a smile on his face is because he always found the win in the situation. So one example that I can use with him right now. He has a cat. The cat's name is Play. And unfortunately, recently that cat was diagnosed with cancer. Now, if you're an animal lover the way my dad is, that's really bad news, and that can hit you in a very hard way. Now, the way that he was able to take this news and try to turn it into a win for himself is he looked at the relationship that he's in. So my dad has a girlfriend. They've been going out for about 5 or 7 years now, and they don't live together. They live near each other, but they don't live together. And that woman has a dog. It's a golden retriever. It loves to play with other animals. It would love to play with the cat, but the cat would try to scratch its eyes out. Further, in addition to the fact that the animals wouldn't get along, she also is allergic to cats. So that's created this kind of rift, this barrier between them living together. Now, one thing that can occur if the cat is no longer in the picture, if the cat does happen to succumb to terminal cancer, is that they can now move in together. They can move on to the next stage of their relationship. He can enter the next stage of his life. So he sees it in this win-win way. If the cat beats cancer, then I get to continue having a cat that I love. I don't have to mourn my animal just yet. She's not going to die, and I don't have to deal with all that sadness that comes with an animal that you love and care about and have as a part of your family dying. But if my animal does die, then that means I get to strengthen the relationship that I have with my girlfriend and enter the next stage of my relationship with my girlfriend and the next stage of my life. He's frameworked that situation so that regardless of what occurs, he has a reason to smile. Regardless of what occurs, bad or good with whatever is going on right now, there's a win at the end of it. He's found the win, and that's important. Now, you can do this with many other aspects of life. For example, with business, with training. A lot of people have criticized how I train because I give people the overall concept, but I don't micromanage how they achieve that concept. I'll show you how a system works, but I'm not, again, like I'll show you how to ride the bike. I'll hold you while you're riding the bike for the first 20 seconds, but after the 20 seconds, I'm just going to push you and you have to pedal the bike and not fall down. I can't literally pedal the bike for you. A lot of training procedures will walk you through every single little detail step by step. I don't do that because I want to see if you can figure it out on your own. If you're unable to figure it out on your own, then the next time there's another procedure or another process or another device we have to work on, we're just going to be back at square one again. So what I will do is I will hire people. I'll give them a lot of the overall, big picture information. I'll show them a couple of examples, but then I'll give them a challenge to deal with on their own. And what I used to do is I used to fire people if they weren't making progress with it immediately. We used to just, and one of the therapists that I had said, are you projecting your own failure onto the applicant? What if you let them come up with the idea to fire themselves? You could do the exact same thing you're doing, but you could be as encouraging as you can. And I thought I was being encouraging, but it kind of made me check myself and say, okay, I got to be even more encouraging now. And I would encourage them. I would show them how to do something. And then I'd say, okay, your turn. And if they didn't get it, we would just move on to something else. But they would then have to choose to fire themselves rather than me assuming that they're not getting it. So I had one person show up. And I remember for 90 minutes, this person was trying to plug a speaker into a connector. So this is one of those connectors where it has 2 male pins. It has 2 male pins that stick up, and then the connector has 2 slits in it where those pins will go into. The connector has those slits on one side. The other side doesn't have any slits. This person was very intelligent, very, very intelligent person. Good critical thinker, has accomplished things in life. After 90 minutes, they couldn't figure out how to plug it in. And they came to me really, really just beaten up over it and sad. And somebody told me, you know, if you let this person try to do that and fail, that's not going to end well. They're going to fail and they're going to feel bad about it. And if they feel bad enough about it, they're going to quit and you're going to lose somebody. Now, that's something that can be construed as negative. But I tried to construe this with the win-win philosophy. I thought to myself, okay, if I win, if this person figures it out, I now have an analytical and critical thinker who can figure this out on their own. If I lose and that person gives up and then quits because they feel bad, well, now I figured out on day 2 that this person would not have been a fit for the job, rather than figuring it out on day 10 or 30 or 90 or 300 or 500 like so many other businesses do. So that person came to me and I looked and I said, okay, show me what you're doing. They were plugging it in upside down. So the slits were on the top of the connector and the pins were over here. Instead of plugging it in like this, so the slits went into the pins, they kept trying to do it like this. For a full 90 minutes, this person was trying to plug it in upside down without ever thinking to turn the connector around and see if it plugs in that way. And it's just one of those things where that person then could have decided to say, I learned from this, great, let's move on to the next challenge with my knowledge. Or they could have decided to feel bad, feel like they can't achieve can't achieve what they need to achieve, and then quit. And 9 minutes after that, again, I was not snarky about this. I was not mean. I was encouraging. I said, see, that just means you know for next time. Let's move on and try this thing. So this is a similar type of thing to put back together. And here's how I would do it. Now you try. And about 9 minutes in, they barely even tried. They just stared at it for 9 minutes, and then they quit. And I saw this as a win-win. Again, if they succeed, it will be a success story like it is with my current receptionist. Somebody who has no experience, has common sense but no experience, who now puts back, they can replace retina screens without replacing the assembly, air screens in under 17 minutes, can diagnose sensor issues on a motherboard, like just easy. Or it could be a failure where they choose to quit on their own because they feel that they cannot do the job. One way or the other, I will have a positive outcome. I don't see it in terms of I failed, they didn't figure it out, another person that I wasted time on. No, I see it as I figured out as quickly as possible that they were not for the job. If I had gone over a different training process where I go over every single little detail, it may have been 400 days in where they're screwing the new devices up that I didn't know that they didn't have it in them to go, okay, this is not connecting. What if I try turning it upside down? Again, I could have figured that out on day 400, or I could figure that out on day 2 or 3. Win-win. Another thing could be with legal situations. So for example, I've been going through this nonsense right now where people who represent Fruity Inc. don't like the fact that there's certain content on my channel. And I had to put a lot of thought into how to move forward with this. I've had to put a lot of thought into how to framework this so that it's win-win for myself. Because it's really easy to get stuck in this rabbit hole to hell where I'm just thinking, oh my God, I'm fucked. This is the end. And I've tried to framework it this way. So it seems like they want me to remove certain items of my own volition. And I feel like that would be a loss. So I've tried to framework this win-win. If I win because I did a video on what their desires were and what happened when I was contacted, if the win there happens to be that all the people who got mad at the fact that they don't like my content, if that winds up reflecting on them in a certain way, and they decide not to pursue any action against me, that's a win. And one of the things to think about here is to really get your mission and purpose clear in your head when you're trying to framework a situation win-win. So with the second situation, the mission and purpose there was I want employees who can think for themselves and figure out things on their own. How do I achieve that? Here, my mission and purpose with my YouTube channel is to educate you, to motivate you, to teach you how to repair products, and above all, to move forward the right to repair movement so that we don't live in a world years from now where you have to go to the dealer for an oil change. And that's what I'm trying to do with this YouTube channel here. So, I know, I forgot what I'm talking about. They're going to be so mad. Why don't you edit video? Okay, boy. Here you go. Goodbye, kitty. So here, my mission and purpose is to educate you, to move the right to repair movement forward, to create awareness for the right to repair movement, and to motivate people to achieve success in their lives. That's what I want to do with the YouTube channel. So I think of it. If my videos get to stay up, that's a win. I get to continue doing what I'm doing. Now, if they were to file an injunction, if they were to file a DMCA claim, if they were to take action to remove my content, there's a win there. Because there are a lot of people who are saying, Louis, you made this up. Nobody who represents Fruity Inc. ever contacted you. You're making this up. Nobody cares about this thing. Nobody cares that you're trying to teach people how to fix stuff. Nobody cares that you do educational videos. And this right to repair thing is all just a bunch of crap because you can already find these schematics online. You can just Google it and download it. And this company has no problem with that. You're making it up. So if I get a notice that says legally, remove this shit, then I can then go back to the individual who said, this is not a thing, the right to repair thing is just BS, you don't need this, and go, well, check it out. I made a video showing you how to replace a fuse. I showed you in that video where the 3.3 volt circuit attaches to the keyboard and trackpad with a fuse in between it, and that has created legal issues. So now if I get that notice, it's not like, oh my God, my channel isn't blah, blah, blah. I can framework that into a win. I can use that to create awareness for the bill. I can use that to then show people that this is a real issue. All of you people who think that there's no issue at all, that this just doesn't exist, that I just pulled this out of my ass, can see that it is indeed real. So I frameworked it where regardless of the outcome, with what my mission and purpose is, I win. So I can sit here either continuing to do the content I do, thumbs up, or have challenges in creating the content I do, but in having those challenges, then still have a win, which allows me to sit here and be relaxed about my life choices and about how I decide to go about everything. And, it helps. I can even have this win-win mindset when it comes to relationships. So, interesting, funny thing, I was dating this woman about 4.5 years ago. She was a customer, and she would bring things in every now and then. She came with her boyfriend a few times, and the first memory I have of her was we were sharing an elevator while we were going downstairs after everything was completed. And I remember she came with her boyfriend, and the boyfriend said something along the lines of, wow, he seems like he's in a hurry, as I was running out the elevator to go to my next appointment. And she says this with the kind of sense of pride for me and serious shade towards him. Yeah, he's busy. He has things to do. With the implication that he had nothing to do, as if that's a negative thing. And he seemed like a nice guy from the elevator or whatever. And then there was this one night, January 2012, where I had stopped seeing somebody that I had this really rocky on and off thing going on with. She no longer, this woman no longer lived with me. She moved out. It was January 15th, I believe, January 15th, 2012. And I was feeling kind of sad that night. I was just, the way everything ended, it didn't end in a positive light. I was going to sleep by myself for the first time in a while. And it was just one of those moments where, you're not going to feel sorry about yourself or beat yourself up too much, but I just felt kind of depressed. I just felt kind of sad, Things didn't end well. And I get a message at like 1:31 in the morning from this woman. Let's call her Rachel, the one from the elevator. And she asks about something that's broken, and she's talking to me, and we're just talking back and forth. And I just did this thing that I don't usually do, where I just overshared. And then she overshared back and talked about how she broke up with that guy and how things didn't go well. I don't know if everything is true, but from what she said, he called her a nigger, not nigga with an A, but nigger with an ER, like how Keemstar would say nigger, like that way, which is, I'm not saying that when a white person calls a black person nigga that it's okay. I stay miles away from all of that shit. I'm just trying to get the point across. This wasn't like nigga, like, hey, what's up kind of thing, where you can make one argument one way or the other that it wasn't really awful, but this was like a Keemstar nigger. This was nigger with an ER, where it's just all types of bad, and that he pushed her, and that they weren't seeing each other anymore. And we talked for about a week. We went out on a few dates, and it went well. We had a lot of fun. Then the next day came up, and she canceled. And I had some things planned, so that, well, it wasn't exactly. You know, when you make plans and you have fun things planned to do and the person decides that never mind. Kind of sucks. So she said she'd make it up to me. The day that she decides to make it up to me, she says, oh, I don't think people really know what you're feeling or what you're thinking when they look at you. And because of that, you're probably going to be alone for the rest of your life. I'm going back to my ex-boyfriend. Bye. It was one of those things where she also would ask very often, what are you thinking? And that's probably one of the worst things that a woman can ask, in my opinion. If you want to know what I'm thinking, you're welcome to come up with a topic to discuss. You can try to create a discussion, come up with something to say, but what are you thinking? I mean, I never understood how to answer that question. I don't know. Does my employee not show up to work every Monday because he's genuinely sick or because he has a cocaine addiction? Is my license going to show up in time for me to open? Am I going to be able to pay this back? Did I make the right decision moving into a store? Is my cat going to be okay after he had his Achilles tendon surgery? What are you thinking? It's just, there's so many things going on that there's just not a question that I don't know how to answer. And I've dated two types of women in my life. I've dated women who, through intelligent, thought-provoking discussion, will come up with what I'm thinking. And I've dated people that just look at me and go, so what are you thinking? And the latter, it's just, those relationships have always been really short-lived. Anyway, but that was how that ended. No harm, no foul. Again, it wasn't exactly the nicest. I didn't think that was the nicest thing to say to somebody. Again, this is how I don't think people are going to be able to tell what you're thinking or what you're feeling from, your facial expressions. You're probably going to be alone for the rest of your life. I'm going back to the ex-boyfriend. Not the nicest way to say it, but whatever, I'll move on. Beginning of June comes along. I have not heard from this woman once in 4.5 years. Let's call her name Rachel. I get a call from Rachel saying, hi, this is Rachel. Not even on my personal phone, because again, I change my number every now and then just so that all the people that I kind of want to flush out of the system don't have a means of contacting me. And I get a call from Rachel and she goes, hi, this is Rachel. And it's like, okay. Oh, remember me? Oh, this is Rachel from, we used to talk. And it's like, I'm confused. I don't get it. And it's not that I didn't know who this person was. I hadn't forgotten the experience of this person. It's just that it had been this is not the person that I'm expecting to call me with this positive attitude. If it's like, are you Rachel the collections agent? Are you Rachel with Kilpatrick and Townsend? Are you an angry customer? Are you Rachel the telemarketer? I would expect so many people to call me with that tone of voice, but not the woman that I dated 5 years ago that said those things 5 years ago. And I find it kind of funny because the conversation's, oh yeah, I just wanted to know how you were doing. I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to catch up, hear what's been going on in your life. Maybe we can get brunch. And here I said, okay, fine, whatever. Let's go out. And I thought to myself, this is kind of funny. This happened in the beginning of June. I had gained about 140,000 subscribers on YouTube over the course of a couple of weeks. I had gotten a couple of million new video views. And my friend, I have still yet to confirm this, but a friend of mine said that there was even a short 10-second clip of you on some local news station, which I haven't seen, so I don't know if he's full of BS there or not. But literally a day after that occurs, a day after I'm supposedly on some TV news, I get a call from somebody I dated 5 years ago who was like, yeah, you're going to be alone for the rest of your life. Now the tone has changed to, oh yeah, I'm just kind of curious how you're doing. Just want to get lunch. So my instinct is, okay, something happened here. Maybe you made the wrong choice. Because again, outside of let's say a 10-second meeting in an elevator, I genuinely don't know the ex, but I do know from what I was told through her that he lived with his parents, didn't have a job, didn't have a lot of prospects, and I also know the story of, again, which I don't know if it's true because I wasn't there for it, but daddy did once push her and call her a nigger. So I'm just thinking of this and it's like, okay, maybe you see that was who you were going out with. I have a business is doing well, business is growing, people are moving behind this right to repair thing, I'm making it to the news, and it's like maybe I made the wrong choice kind of thing. So my instinct is kind of jumping to, yeah, something is fishy here, and I should probably avoid this like the plague. Maybe you see that I've gained some notoriety, and now it's like, okay, how can I get in with this guy? Or I don't know what it is. It just seems kind of fishy to me. And I talk with a couple of friends about it, and they say, just go ahead with it. Just go along with it. Maybe this person has changed. Maybe they're sorry. Maybe you've grown and she's grown, and since you've both grown, maybe you'll have a great time together. Just go for it and just don't assume anything negative, and ignore your instincts and see what happens. So what I tried to do is I tried to framework this with my win-win. If I'm correct and this is a bunch of BS, then my instinct when I picked up the phone, my first instinct to hang up was the correct instinct. However, if my friend is correct and I'm wrong, then that means that I have an opportunity for a new acquaintance or a new relationship, a new friend or a new girlfriend, somebody that I can include in my life and have in my life to talk about what's going on and lean on when things don't go well, and just have a companion. Then that's a win. So rather than trying to prove myself right, that my instinct is correct, if I'm wrong here, there's still a win. I'm frameworking it so there's a win regardless of how the situation goes. So we go out to brunch, we talk, we have a decent time, and then I kind of feel like I'm getting trolled at one point. I feel like I'm getting trolled because she says something along the lines of, yeah, one of the regrets that I had from 4 years ago, and she goes to grab my hand and hold it, is, yeah, I just kind of regret that we didn't have sex more 5 years ago. It's like, I'm being punked. I'm waiting for Ashton Kutcher to jump out from behind a tree in downtown Brooklyn and go, ha ha, because that just, again, it's one of those things where it has to be believable. And here, I'm not buying. I'm just not buying. And it's one of those things that just, blah. It's not, and it's one of those things where, like in relationships, my goal actually is not sex, believe it or not. I learned this in my early 20s. If I want to have sex, I have everything at home that I need to do that without other people. One of the worst things in life, in my opinion, one of the most depressing things is being alone when you're with other people. There's being alone by yourself, but when you feel alone with other people, when you have sex with people that you don't think truly care about you or love you, that's a really fucking depressing thing. So anyway, here I'm just kind of thinking like, yeah, this seems a little bit kind of weird. But I go out with her again, and I'm open. I'm not going out with that negative idea, with those negative projections, with that negative crap. I'm going out with the idea that maybe things have changed. And she says, listen, I'm really sorry about what I said 5 years ago. I understand that I should have given you a chance to maybe discuss something or explain something, or I should have just tried to get to know you a little better for who you are before I said those things. And maybe things would have gone differently. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'm buying it. I'm buying this hook, line, and sinker. And it's like, bah. But I'm ignoring my instincts here. And she also explains how the guy, she got engaged to the guy. She was smiling at the idea of being engaged to the guy while also trying to not cry because she feels like I'm making the biggest mistake of my life. They no longer go out, blah, blah, blah. And I go out with her a couple more times. And I realize after going out with her a couple more times that I'm dating the exact same person that I was seeing 5 years ago. The person that sees you as plan B, the person that feels totally okay saying really hurtful things to you just because they don't want to take the effort to have a conversation, which again is totally fine. It's totally fine in the context of, okay, let's not go out or see you ever again. It's not okay in the context of I'm going to go out with you again. But we go out, and it's literally the exact same thing where I'm walking next to somebody who is texting nonstop constantly, yet if I send you a message, I hear back from you like 3 days later. So I decided to just delete the number, delete the Skype contact, and get them out of my life for a second time. Now, the thing here is that I want you to understand that even in the personal relationship landscape, that there is still a win-win here. Again, here, the win was that I realized that my instinct was not a paranoid instinct. My instinct to wonder, why is this person calling me literally a day after all this stuff blows up? TV news, front page of Reddit 4 times, millions of new video views, people all around the world figuring out who I am. And now you're calling. Again, my instinct there was a correct instinct. But there was also another win to be had there. The other win to be had there was in proving myself wrong. See, what I find a lot of people do is they value being right to such a severe extent that they will go above and beyond to make themselves right. If I felt that my instinct was correct, I could have easily went into that brunch, acted like a complete negative asshole, projected my negativity onto that individual, and then received that negativity back and said, see, I'm right. But here, with the win-win mindset, you have to realize that sometimes being wrong or having the undesirable thing occur can actually be a good thing. It can actually be a win. So here, I went into that thinking, okay, let's see myself get proven wrong. If I'm proven wrong and what this person has said is true, if they really did feel bad about how they acted and they genuinely did change and I genuinely did grow and we can get along, and that's great. I have a new person in my life that regardless of what type of relationship we have, I have a new person in my life that I can share with, that they can share with, and that we can get along. That's great. I want to be proven wrong. So I enter it with that projecting positivity instead of the negativity. And it didn't work out. But that could have been another win. The win there could have been that my instincts were wrong and now I have a new person that I can share my life with, right? But it's just one of those things where it could go either way. So I frameworked it so either way I win. So right now, rather than being depressed and thinking, see, I should have trusted my instincts. I knew that I was right. Why did I listen to my friend? Why did I get sucked back into this? I can just go, okay, my instincts were correct. Now I know when I have that instinct, when that feeling goes through my head, that there's a reason for it and I should trust it. I learned something. No harm, no foul. Delete the number, delete the Skype contact. Goodbye. I learned my lesson. Again, I'm done. And there's always the win to be seen in every situation. So I want you to be able to framework your life so that regardless of what the outcome is, regardless of what decision you make, that there is going to be a win. And this is particularly helpful when you're dealing with situations that you can't control. I cannot control whether or not a new employee is going to choose to give up on learning. My dad can't choose whether or not his cat is going to die. I can't choose whether the person I go out on a date with is going to be invested in making it work or not. I can't choose whether or not somebody is going to want to like me for who I am. I have no control over that. But what I can do is always framework it so that regardless of what goes on, there's a win. And if you do that, you'll notice that if you combine that mindset of always looking for the win with also what I talked about in the video about achieving freedom from the fear of failure, that it's far easier to take control of your own life. It's far easier to start taking responsibility for your decisions. It's easier for you to go out there and just start making decisions and not driving yourself nuts when you don't get the desired outcome. It's helped me a lot. I'm really glad that my dad imparted that philosophy onto me, and I really hope it's helpful for all of you. And that's it for today. End of video. I'm liking this lighting. When I do a video during the daytime and I have the shades up, everything is much whiter than it usually is. Like if I wanted to be sponsored by some, whitening toothpaste or something, I think I could actually pass for that right now. I have the world's weirdest smile, don't I? Look at this. Like, I can't do a real smile to save my life. It just always winds up creepy. No, I'm not. Some people are just not made to smile. I'm definitely not made to smile. But when I look in the screen, I can just see I know my teeth are not this white. I know it's lighting. And lighting is really deceptive.